came. Welcome back.
Thank you for having me on. I didn't introduce myself in the last podcast, but my name is Phoebe. I did?
I don't even know if you at this point. No one knows. We don't even know!
Well, my name is Phoebe. I'm one of Lawson's friends, and they teach me a lot about history.
It's a
pretty
godless
much,
place.
it's pretty much all around the world. They know a lot more than I do, so they're going to be essentially teaching me for the first time on some stuff today. So, you take that shit away.
I will. Basically, we're going to be going over a period called the Dirty War. It's not a conventional war in that it's kind of dirty.
Sounds like it. In what sense? Like, physically filthy? Or,
in certain places.
You know, in a provocative sense? Or just, like, bloodshed?
Just in its effects, I would say.
Yeah.
Because, it has affected Argentinian politics to this day.
Yeah.
Argentina has been deeply affected by this period of history, and if we don't talk about it, a lot of schmucks are going to continue being idiots on the internet, and in just everywhere. And that needs to be stopped.
Yeah, and we all know what that is.
We don't. I don't. All right. So while the notion of, well, let's say, disappearing vast amounts of people hadn't been invented by Argentinian fascists, it still reeked echoes of one of the most famous acts of human genocide, the Holocaust. As this is going to be a very big point later. They kind of, like, draw ideological connections with the Nazis, which shouldn't be allowed. I would say
that's a really
in a
bad
post-Holocaust
thing.
world, I just don't. That's a bad thing. I just don't know why.
And we're talking about, like, decades later.
Yes, like.
So that makes it even worse. It's like, because one might come up with the excuse like, "Oh, we haven't had time," but
no, this was still on everyone's conscience.
Time has passed, from the time of the Holocaust. So, yeah.
The rhetoric of Nazism was still heard and employed in the Argentines' national reorganizational process. That's the official name, for PR. Because you can't kind of go around and just call yourself a dictatorship. It won't. You won't be as popular.
It's not going to sit well with a lot of people.
For some reason, I just don't know why.
Yeah, it makes sense.
The rhetoric of Nacht und Nebeln, which is night and fog, which is basically the language Hitler himself used to describe the vanishing of German Jews in the initial phases of the Holocaust.
And the word choice and like the methods he used to present.
Yeah, because the words were very, very specific, because they were like meant to what's the word? Mitigate what you're actually saying, what you're actually proposing. This was all encompassed by a single obscurant and, God, just it's an unprecedented word, desaparecido, which means disappeared one. Basically, this was coined by the Argentine dictatorship in order to deny the kidnapping, torture, and murder of thousands of their own citizens, both non-active guerrilla combatants, which even if they're guerrilla combatants, there's as a state you're still kind of meant to ensure the rights of your citizens, even if they go against the state. I mean that's the whole job.
Yeah.
And regular everyday citizens. The line was the Argentina had been split into a public world and a clandestine world, as the spheres were interlinked.
Can you tell me what clandestine is?
It's secretive.
Okay.
And though it's out in the open, if you talk about it, especially back in like '76, you're more than likely going to be murdered and disappeared yourself. Because the then commander of the army, Roberto Viola, put it this way: a desaparecido was someone who was absent forever. Officially, a desaparecido was neither living nor dead, neither here nor there.
Interesting. Very interesting.
It literally just put a fog over the national collective.
So people would just like disappear.
Yeah, you one day someone's there, you see a black vehicle pull up, come get you, you're gone, you're never seen again. And if you are seen, it's not in any physical remains, or it's not in any way pretty if you've survived.
Yeah.
Because the concentration camps, they were everyday places. Like, they weren't traditional concentration camps. Like, they were in military academies, they were in universities, they were in everyday public spaces that you wouldn't even consider a death camp.
Yeah. So they were like labor camps essentially.
No, like
all of
death camps.
Death camps where not where people actually go to work
These
before
were
death.
torture sites.
Torture. Okay.
These were where death was expected.
I don't even want to know how they would dispose of.
Well, we're going to go over that.
The bodies. Wow.
They had some methods like, tossing them from planes into the ocean. Well, and sometimes they even alive while they're doing that.
Oh gosh.
Exploding bodies and out in the open, and then having a collaboration as newspapers like the most number one Clarín say, oh, these bodies just randomly appeared, and back to the Clarín, they collaborated heavily with the national reorganization process because they would paint the army, the dirty war, as a war fought on equal sides rather than it was like a just war rather than the state just doing terrorism.
Then like the oppressor and the people who are experiencing the horrible things that they were doing to people. Literally. Absolutely, like harrowing things.
Like they would say, after coming across a clandestine meeting, 30 subversives was discovered by the armed forces and swiftly destroyed. As if like it was like basically saying that this was a battle. Like the military didn't just come across some people who may or may not even be fighters in whatever war that isn't even a war. This was a battle. They died. They died justifiably. Oh boy.
Well, teach me more about this because I feel like what we've talked about right now, or up to this point, I've known a little bit of context, but we're about to get into the stuff that I'm really unfamiliar with, which was what was going on specifically in South America. Because like you said earlier, the rhetoric and a lot of the sentiments that were held in Argentina and some of the neighboring areas at this time, like you said, was very, very strikingly similar.
Oh, this was for Argentina. It was because it was directly influeed by Nazi ideology.
Yeah.
And
people that argue against that, I just don't understand. It's beyond me. Yeah.
For the process, kinship was defined by citizenship, and only authentic Argentines could be part of the national family.
Mm.
So, if you were what they considered a degenerate, whether you're Jewish, because we're going to get to that, that's because, 20% of the victims were Jewish.
Mm.
And that's a fact that is often ignored, because the resonance with the survivors of the Holocaust also held effect over those living under then current death camps.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
when the process came and detained pregnant women, when they gave birth, they were if the baby survived, they would be given to collaborationists, families who would raise the baby as their own, and
see this shit, and this example of media has a lot of flaws because it is very much a depiction of white feminism. The Handmaid's Tale. This sounds really similar to what happens in The Handmaid's Tale, where the women, like people are taken, and pregnant women give birth, and then those children are given to other people.
Fascists are always obsessed over women's bodies.
Yeah, and that's really terrifying that has happened somewhere, because you don't hear about that. This what you have told me, I've never really known about this or known these details. So it is strikingly similar to that story. And people are like, oh, well, what if this happened one day? It kind of already has.
It already has happened in the world.
Yeah, just maybe not to you, so.
This sparked protests because because in this type of environment, protest isn't, you are under threat of being disappeared yourself. But still, God bless them, mothers and grandmothers of the Plaza de Mayo, they were protesting and demanding to know where their loved ones had gone and what happened to the babies. Because no one knew where the babies were. Because the state literally took people's children away.
I wish we had a video. To go along with this. Of us discussing this. There's not very many words that you can speak about this.
And
just in response, it's just so fucked up.
Literally.
Not in discussion, but in sympathy, it's just this is beyond words.
This is beyond human. This is I just don't for those that consider themselves the master race, they're not even human. like, I'm sorry, Nazis aren't human. Like, they do this shit and they're not human. I'm sorry. It's literally allowed to fight back against them at this point. Because they are literally genociding people.
That's evil.
Because estimates vary, because there have been declassified documents that were, because during the transition phase, the dictatorship was doing its very fucking best to get rid of all evidence pointing to its crimes, and and thank God, but that God damn it, Carl.
Carl is coming to listen to what me and Lawson are talking about. He
wants to learn about Argentinian war crimes.
Yeah, he does. We'll include a picture of him.
He'll be the
He'll be the cover photo.
Oh, Lord. Since 1977, the grandmothers of the Plaza de Mayo have searched for 220 missing children. Of those, they have located 56 who were kidnapped with their parents who remain missing. 30 have been reunited with their biological parents. 13 remain with their adoptive parents. In all cases, civilians uninvolved with repression who adopted in good faith. That statistic was they were adopting in good faith and had no idea that they were products of the military literally just kidnapping them.
Yeah.
6 cases are still pending in the courts, and 7 are believed to have been assassinated together with their parents.
Oh my God.
The grandmothers who organized in October 1977 believe that there were many, many more children and babies born in captivity, but no one thus far has come forward to investigate their cases.
I feel like there's a couple different reasons why people over there or just anywhere haven't investigated.
in the neoliberal government, like the democratically elected neoliberal governance of like Menem, he literally allowed war criminals to in order to be in office, because if he did anything, oh boy, they would probably fucking coup him again. They would probably coup them. So while I understand that position was in a hard place, it's a position that you should still not budge on for some reason. I just don't know why.
Yeah. That is a lot to unpack.
In spite of terror, torture, and depravity, prisoners did in an environment that constantly taught you that you were lesser, that you weren't even human. They still managed to resist the dehumanizing project of their captors. In La Perla, detainees memorized as many of each other's names as they could, repeating them one by one in the solitary darkness of their tubes.
The solitary darkness.
Yeah, because they were held in solitary confinement.
And that is something. How long would people be in there the longest?
Oh, it depends on the torturer.
Because whenever you read about solitary confinement, it is really, really unhealthy for people to be in there even a couple of days, because all of your physical internal like clocks and cycles are thrown off, because the light and day is no longer shifting the way that it usually does, and not talking to anybody for so long and having little to no stimulation, it doesn't take long for those things to really psychologically and physically harm someone who's going through it. So that I feel like I could write a paper about that aspect of that, because there's so much to it. But yeah, that's a horrible thing to do to people. it can cause like some very serious permanent damage, even if one gets out alive. But yeah.
And like people were still trying to, and they were and when the military was trying to reinforce this dehumanization on people in the enormous Devoto prison in Buenos Aires, prison where prisoners were legal is compared to the illegally disappeared people, because that wasn't an Argentinian law even then.
Yeah.
They just did it off the books, because we're going to get into this, because America knew all this, but hold on a second. The women were forced to change cells every few days so that no relationships could be formed, and every effort was made to pair detainees with problematic companions. Hairdressers with anthropologists, Maoists with Trotskyites. Oh no.
Oh my god.
Not the Trotskyites. Peronists with members of the Communist Party.
And that...
They wanted us to hate each other, called Norita, who spent a total of 8 years in captivity as a result of at first as a desaparecida, then as a political prisoner. Sometimes their strategies work, but not always. One night, as a punishment, we were all forced to lie on the floor, head to toe. A woman caressed the foot of the woman beside her, who then caressed the foot of the woman beside her, and so on down the line. We were very subtle, and they had no idea.
God.
Like, even that, like, you had to... This was an environment where you had to have some, even no matter how minimal it was, some recognition that you're fucking human.
Yeah, and specifically wanting to put people with other certain people, that's definitely like a psychological warfare tactic, like terrifying these people and really, really messing with their heads, making them pretty sure that they are going to die there because of the extremeness of the violence put upon the prisoners. But that's very psychological. So this wasn't just let's bring these people in and let's just kill them all right now. It's let's fuck up these people and leave them with like permanent scars. Leave permanent scars on their family members and loved ones who have to know that these things were done to them. This goes on past the present. This is gonna be in so many people's futures. It still is years after the fact. And it's crazy that this stuff wasn't long ago. That's barbaric and evil.
It is. The thing is, they thought they were a civilizing, because they thought they were doing like the modern Holocaust, because they were doing it so fucking efficiently. It was done ramshackledly in goddamn universities and fucking right next to goddamn like suburban houses, like.
Yeah.
Like no, you're fucking Nazi freaks.
Literally.
Who think they're fucking bringing about who think they're continuing the goddamn fucking World War II. Like, shut the fuck up. Get off your goddamn high horses, you pieces of shit. Like,
real.
One victim of the Argentine dictatorship, Adolfo Perez Esquivel, recalled historical connections with the Nazi genocide as an ideological, particularly of the Argentine camps. One of the things that really shocked me was the thought, am I in Argentina or in Nazi Germany?
Yeah.
There was a swastika painted almost covering a large wall, and it was written, under it was the word nationalism, written with a Z. Another prisoner, Jorge Reyes, recalls that when they beat us, they would say, "We are the Gestapo." During the torture sessions, the perpetrators would shout, "We are fascists." Like, they're just fucking Nazis.
Yeah.
Like, they're just this piece of shit degenerate Nazis. And on the 30th anniversary of the military coup, the National Security Archive posted a series of declassified U.S. documents, and for the first time, secret documents from Southern Cone. Intelligence agencies recording detailed evidence of massive atrocities committed by the military junta in Argentina. The documents include a formerly secret transcript of Henry Kissinger's staff meeting during which he ordered immediate U.S. support for the new military regime, and Defense and State Department reports on the ensuing repression. Fuck. The archive has also obtained internal memoranda in cables from the infamous Argentine intelligence unit, Battalion 601, as well as the Chilean secret police agency known as the DINA, which is secretly collaborating with the military in Buenos Aires. On December 22nd, Licenciatura, First Secretary Kevin Mullen stated at an informal meeting of local embassy human rights officers, quote unquote, that a senior army official had informed the Catholic nuncio, which is basically an emissary for the Holy See, or basically the Pope, that the armed services have been forced to take care of 15,000 persons in its anti-subversion campaign.
Got out a lot.
Like, as far like, if you're a fucking dumbass American who says, "Oh, Argentina has Nazis in it," well, at the same time, America also supported those Nazis, so shut the fuck up. Like,
yeah.
Like, literally.
Also, we do not have any room at all to talk about the capturing and enslaving and torturing of people. So
I have no idea what you were calling.
Yeah, I guess nobody does except me. I think
you're making it up.
I'm making that shit up.
I think you're subversive.
Yeah, I just need to shut my mouth.
Yeah, you're not. I don't think you would be allowed in this awful, awful place known as the national reorganization process is Argentina.
Yeah.
Right? It's a horrifying because this also coincided with the first neoliberal reforms being implemented, not by force at this point.
Well, you have brought something forth that I will be definitely doing some internet research about. I'll end up going on
I have some sources for you if that would be that would be
of interest.
That would be of quite interest.
That is of quite interest to me.
Quite. I suggest Night and Fog by and her later book Lexicon of Terror by Marguerite Feitlowitz. And I recommend the ideological origins of the Dirty War by Federico Finchelstein.
I'm sure I could find a copy online.
You can steal them.
I didn't say that.
You can steal them online. It's okay. Everyone does it. Obama does it even.
No one better.
If Obama can do it, I'm pretty sure we can. So, thank you guys, and remember, no Nazis, please?
Yeah.
Thanks.